Hello and welcome to Mindful Living, where we explore the art of living with the intention, balance, and inner peace. I am Avik, your host, guiding you through conversations on health, meditation, mental well being, mindfulness, and the mind body connection. Each episode features expert insights to help you grow, heal, and thrive. So, take a deep breath, relax, and join us on this journey to a more mindful and fulfilling life. So, let's get started.
Hello and welcome back, listeners, to the Mindful Living podcast with your host, Sana. Today, we are diving into a fascinating conversation with Dr. Edgar Reynoso Vanderhorst, a Dominican born neonatologist, wellness expert, and author of The Wellness Optimizing Yourself. Now, get this, listeners. When he's not helping newborns in the NICU or studying neural physiology, Dr. Edgar is blending science with self care to give people practical tools to reach their highest potential. Having worked at both Mount Sinai in New York and the University of Illinois at Chicago, his wellness journey brings a unique mix of neuroscience and hands on strategies for personal growth and fulfillment. And listeners, Dr. Edgar believes we are all capable of becoming our best selves, no matter the hurdles, and he's here on the Mindful Living to tell us how to get there. So let's jump onto this journey. So, Dr. Edgar, welcome to the show, and it's an absolute honor to have you with us today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this great introduction, Sana. Oh, I feel so great, to be honest. And for me, it's an honor just to share my thoughts and share the science behind all the things that we talk about to help people bring the best version of themselves. Because sometimes we hear like it's easy, be yourself, be mindful. But do we really share tools that they can use in the daily life? That's that's my goal with this conversation at this point.
Exactly, Dr. Edgar. That was beautiful. So, your approach combines wellness practices with neuroscience. How did you first realize this unique mix that could help people optimize their lives?
Well, honestly, every time that we talk about like tools and mindfulness,
Mm-hmm.
first we had to realize how do you get this information? Well,
Uh-huh.
for me, it was in my journey when I embarked to become a pediatric neonatologist. I started to study for the United States medical license examination. And
Mm-hmm.
I was digging with my medical background with the physiology. But at the same time, I wanted to dig in the wellness holistic wisdom. At that point, I started to understand the connection between neuroscience and
Mm-hmm.
wellness. With
Mm-hmm.
that deep knowledge, I started to do some tools in myself that I realized the potential and made me stride in the goal that I was to become a pediatric neonatologist. So in that particular part, I started to understand the neurophysiology. But later on in the field, when I
Mm-hmm.
was talking to parents and understanding how we had to see children's, because honestly, children's have different vital signs. When I say vital signs, different blood pressure, heart rate, respiratory rate from adults.
Mm-hmm.
And in my field as a neonatologist, those kids they don't talk. So for me, I need to understand really how the body works. And in
Mm-hmm.
that moment, understand how the body works. I say like, oh, I really understand why we do all these practices, what meditation means, what mindset means. All these things, how it's helped in ourselves. With that concept in mind, that's when I start to gather all the information, put it back in a PowerPoint and talking to people. And that's when all the journey become.
Wow, that is an interesting journey, Doctor. And meditation, we all are aware that meditation is such a powerful tool for awareness, for mindfulness. So, if you can walk us through how meditation actually affects the brain and how it ties into your concept of self optimization?
Excellent question. When I started in meditation, for me, I was doing like breath technique. I started with the 21-day challenge on Deepak Chopra. That was
Mhm.
like my first step.
Mhm.
So then I started to realize what's meditation do in our body. At that point, I started to see research. There was a research in California. They talk about what's meditation do in our body, and they conclude that when we meditate, they do a breath technique. When we meditate, what we do is decrease our heart rate.
Mhm.
Let me put an example. When we
Mhm.
do exercise, we running, our heart rate increase. Why? Because our muscle demands more nutrition, like more oxygen. We start to breathe faster at the same time, and our muscle need more blood supply.
Yes.
When we meditate, what we normally do is decrease the heart rate, decrease the respiratory rate at the same time. So that's we call in science parasympathetic nervous system. So when we do exercise, we call sympathetic nervous system. Our heart rate is fast. We breathe faster at the same time because that's what our body needs. But when we meditate, when we do calm exercise, we have a decreasing heart rate, decreasing respiratory rate, and
Mhm.
that's what we call meditation. And there is a interesting quote that I really like by Viktor Frank that say, between stimulus and response, there is a space. That's a space or superpower. So when you're in, we can say an environment of high stress,
Mhm.
when you calm down yourself, you can see reality and be present as it is rather than our thoughts tell us. So when we practice meditations, we are present, we are calm, we can see things and we can respond accordingly as we want it, not to react to stimuli. So at that point, on your body, you're gonna decrease your heart rate, decrease your respiratory rate. On
Mhm.
your mind level, it's made you to be the observer of life because you see things and you understand. Let me go deep on that part to understand and put it easy.
Mhm.
What we see with our five senses, we see, touch, smell, taste, and the way we respond. When you're calm, you can choose your response. You don't react. You
Right.
understand your thoughts are things, but you don't have to relate with your thoughts. You are the awareness of that. And when you are in that present moment with the meditation technique, you can respond. Myself, I did a breath technique that I implement myself when I'm in the high stress level
Mhm.
because as a neonatologist, I had to do NRP. NRP is neonatal resuscitation program. It's meaning when baby does not like cry, I need
Yeah.
to intubate, do all this stuff, and I had like few seconds. So be present. It's key for me. So the toolbox that I made is you take a deep inhale for 4 seconds, hold
Mhm.
it for 2 seconds, and exhale slowly for 6 seconds and hold it for 2 seconds. I'm doing in a cycle of 5 times, and you will feel how your heart rate decrease. That helped me to be present, ground, and see my external things as I need to see my reality. Know what my thought is telling me, like rushing times, everyone screaming. It's helped
Mhm.
me to ground it. So for me, meditation, it's like to summarize, meditation is a physiological response in our body when we decrease our heart rate and oxygen consumption and help us to see reality as it is rather than our thoughts tell us.
Oh, wow. That really explains very well. Very well. Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Edgar, for explaining that. So, moving on to your book, which is Wellness Optimizing Yourself, you emphasize the importance of mindset in personal growth. And of course, it's very, very crucial. So, can you share a few mindset shifts that our listeners could start with today?
Yeah, perfect. For me, first, in order to talk about mindset, I need to define what is mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Mindset, it's the attitude that we face every situation.
Mm-hmm.
we talked before about meditation to be present, but in order to respond, it's the attitude, it's the mindset that it's involved of that.
Mm-hmm.
In that particular matter, we have to understand our focus, it's our power, our perspective, what we see to things. We both are here talking about things. You have your own understanding, I have my own understanding, and
Yeah.
nobody is wrong. We only have our different perspective. But what would you think if I'm telling you that you can change and you can manage your perspective with your mindset? How did I encounter with this knowledge? Well,
Mm.
it's really deep. When I started my journey to become a pediatrician and started to study for the United States medical license examination.
Uh-huh.
I was really saying to myself, how I'm gonna make it. And a lot of people say like fake until you make it. Well, that's right. But how can I see things? How can I put my mind in the right position when I need it? Because sometimes you say, yeah, I have a good perspective. I can see the right things for the situations, but do I see myself when I'm in the high stress situation and I can implement my mindset?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I remember I read study in World War II. It's
Uh-huh.
gonna sound okay a little hard, but I was thinking how the German soldiers they did not have any remorse when they were killing Jewish people.
Mm.
And there was a study that they were talking about the marketing because at that particular time, the German soldiers they were watching movie, hearing news about how bad Jewish people are.
Okay. Exactly.
So for them, they were thinking about, oh, I'm not doing something wrong.
Exactly.
At that point, I realized, oh, what I feed myself, we can say social media, or what I see make a big impact on how I think and how I respond.
Right.
So for me, I started to read a positive quote every day, how it's worked with my mindset. Why? Because it will remind myself, it doesn't matter what happened in my life in every day. It can be right or wrong situation. But the perspective that I give to that situation that is happening is my superpower. So I want to remind myself which perspective I want to see in the world. That's why when I see a positive quote every day, or when we read positive quote, when we hear something that we want to remind ourselves, it's gonna get in our subconscious. At the same
Mm.
time, there are four qualities that we have to develop in ourselves for our mindset. Those qualities that I really describe in my book are resilient. Resilient, I will define, let's do physics. When you have something, we can say that you put a lot of pressure, but when you let go for the pressure, it's gonna become to the normal state. That's how our mind it is. Sometimes we are in anger or we are sad, but we have to remind ourselves that we're gonna go back to baseline.
Correct.
The second thing I always say is courage. Courage is the ability when you are under stress, your heart you to have your actions and your mind on the same directions. Then I talk about perseverance to do the thing despite the difficulty. And the
Mm-hmm.
last one, it's patience. Patient, it's not mean wait. Patient, it's keep a good attitude while you waiting for what you want. So in summary, mindset is the attitude that you're going to face every situation in your life. And you
Mm.
have to remember your perspective is your power and you can manage and control your perspective. It's come with discipline because most of the times when you start, you see the positive quote, but when you are in that moment of higher stress, remind yourself the things that you want to see. That's the
Mm-hmm.
hard part. So that's why it's a discipline and easy tools. Like every morning, you can see a positive quote mind. I like to see. I wrote one in my refrigerator. I have like a mini board, and
Mm-hmm.
I wrote one of my favorite that say, "What if it could turn out better than you can imagine?" Entertain that thought. I see every morning. Just when you every morning when you wake up, I go to the refrigerator to get breakfast. I see that quote, and that go all day long with me just to remind myself what the mindset I want to see in my life, what the perspective and the attitude I want to face in every situation.
That's a great practice. That's a great practice, especially in a very high pressure profession, doctor.
No, yeah, indeed.
Yeah, yeah. And you explained very well, once again, in such simple terms with a great example, which every person can relate to. So that's really, really commendable. Um, some people would argue, doctor, that focusing on self optimization and wellness might encourage self criticism rather than acceptance. How do you balance the two in your work?
Good question. Well, in that part, for me,
Mm-hmm.
normally when I talk about myself, I need to realize my self dialogue. That's something important because we have to understand with the person that you're gonna spend the rest of your life is with yourself stuff that you have in your mind. But most of us ask like, why my self talk? Most of the time, it's negative. Like, why it's go in that track? It's because you had to analyze. You are the observer. But to become the observer of life, become the observer of yourself, it takes time. But let's put that simple. In my book, I talk about self love, that it's really important. But I'm gonna define first few things, few terminology.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about like self-love, first we had to define what is love, because love it's subjective definition. What is love for me? It's totally different what is love for you. Because love it's gonna be defined by your background, your culture, where you come from, what you were raised by your parents, what your parent taught you. When you define what is love for you, then we're gonna add what it's self. We have to understand when you were born, your mom and dad gave you your DNA. Since you
Mm.
were born until now, no one had been through the same experience as you. So if you want to be fair enough, you can never compare yourself with no one because you're the only one who know your own advantage and disadvantage. In science, we call epigenetics. Epigenetic means all the change that happen in your DNA based on your experience. So in that particular part, you are unique, and the role to be yourself was given to you. Now, at the same time, nobody give you a script how to be yourself. You're learning how to be yourself.
Right.
So when everything's happened to you, when you had to make choices, most of the time you say, "Oh, why I did these wrong choices? Why I did that?" No, you had to say yourself, "I'm learning. I did what I could with the knowledge that I have at that time, but I'm not here like to know all the right answers. I'm here to learn." And it doesn't matter the outcomes. I'm gonna take care of myself regardless of the outcomes. That's the thing that I had to think about myself. So when I
Mm.
understand that I'm unique and I'm the person who's gonna spend the rest of my life, then I'm gonna realize how my self-talk are, how my internal dialogue is. Why? Because when you realize who you are, what you want, where you're going, you realize, oh, why did I say something bad to myself if I don't accept myself as I am? We had to work on things that nobody can take away from us, like our personality, our character, or whole being, well-being. That's something that it doesn't matter the external thing, nobody can take that away from you. And when you build that confidence on those things that nobody can take away from you because you are the in charge of that things,
Mm-hmm.
that's when you start to develop a good self-dialogue for yourself, an internal dialogue. Why? Because you are confident in your confidence on yourself, on the things that it's only you, not external things that validate that.
Correct.
That's the way I see how our self dialogue can go in the right directions. But it's gonna take time because this is a life experience. We are experiencing life. We're
Mm.
experiencing emotion that comes and go. Emotions are information about ourselves. Emotion
Mhm.
tell us things how we interpret external situation that happen to us. So for me, it's those different things that help you to understand yourself, because when you understand yourself, you realize, okay, how I can track my path in order to live a fulfilling life. So I think that's the way I can rationalize this question. I don't know if I answer in the right way, but that's the way I see things. And
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you, doctor. Lovely. So you work with newborns who depend on resilience from day one. Has your work in neonatology influenced how you view resilience and personal growth in adults?
Perfect. Yeah, in my field, because I work with newborns and premature babies,
Mm-hmm.
I realized because before becoming a pediatrician and in medical school, I worked with adults first.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized in kids, they heal faster and better than adults. And I was thinking like, why did this happen? Why those things? And honestly, our body, it's a machine that helps you to cope with stress. It's something amazing.
Mm.
So when we develop what we say resilience, that understand that we can go through things and things happen for a reason, it's because when you were born, when you were like a newborn and you grow, your brain got fed with different information. In my
Mm.
field, when I had to deal with those premature babies, I realized I'm not only treating children, I'm impacting family. Why? Because this premature baby is not the one who taught to me. It's the
Exactly.
mom, it's the father. So with the one that I'm dealing, it's with the parents. At that particular point, I realized like my field, I make a big impact. So the choices, the thing that I said, the way that I actions, it's may ripple effects in others. It may ripple effects in adult. So for me as a pediatrician and pediatric neonatologist, we always want the parents see us as an alias to help them to raise the loved one.
Hmm.
So for us, we say if you have healthy parents, you have healthy children.
Correct.
So
Correct.
for me, in that field, in my pediatric neonatology field, I deal most of the times with parents, with adults, not just in the disease level, but just
Mm.
in the mindset level, in the resilient part, because I had to have hard conversations with them.
Correct.
Sometimes in my field, NICU, NICU, you can have some patients that you are giving the right treatment, but
Mm.
other things, how the patient respond to that treatment.
Right.
Also, you don't know 100% what will be the outcomes of that patient until the patients grow and start to develop. We can see the milestone. So those hard conversations when the parent asks me, Doctor, can you tell me what will be the outcomes of this?
Correct.
It's hard.
It is hard, right?
I don't have I don't have the 100% answer. But for me, be honest, tell them, be the person that they can rely on, give the right mindset like, okay, we're going to be resilient, but we're going to work together as a team.
Yep.
But everything that you see of the baby, you can let me know and we can work together to make sure that your baby is thrive as it should be.
Correct.
So for me, in that part, I really love my field, honestly. I really have passion with my field because I love treating children and I love physiology, but at the same time, it's the social aspect.
Mm.
To be empathetic, to be a person relying on, for me, it's really purposeful. Like I really want to impact people in the best way that I can. And with this bill, I think I'm doing with the best that I can, with the best knowledge that I know. And that's, I think it's no, I think that's my goal that I want in life. And that's the way I act and the way I want to share information, give people how they can bring the best version to themselves and give them tools that they can use. So
Absolutely.
for me, it's how that's how I share with them like how to be resilient, how to be a good mindset in the way that you expect with your baby and how you can deliver a good message to them that they can deliver later on to their child and go as a ripple effect.
Wow. What an honest answer. And that is really, really so warming and positive to hear. So before we wrap up, Dr. Edgar, mindfulness and neuroscience, they don't always go hand in hand. Again, some critics may say that. So for those who are skeptical, how do you explain the connection between these practices and measurable wellness outcomes?
Excellent. I love that question. You know why? Because when we talk about neuroscience, They talk about like we have neurotransmitter like serotonin, dopamine, acetylcholine.
Mm-hmm.
Those practices of mindfulness help us to rewire those neurotransmitter. Let me put it simple way, but at the same time talking about science things. When we feel depressed, we
Mm-hmm.
have decreased level of serotonin. All the medication that psychiatry gave to the patient to take out the depression is we call serotonin reuptake, meaning that we increase the serotonin. When you have schizophrenia, hallucination, you have so much dopamine. What did psychiatry feel the medication that they give? They give
Mm-hmm.
dopamine blockage. Okay, that's the neuroscience thing. Okay, that we talk about neurotransmitter. Now, when we talk about mindfulness, the tools when you are present, when you meditate, when you have good amount of sleep, when you do all these things that help you to rewire those neurotransmitter, because our body, in order to function, they need an equilibrium. And the way you reach this equilibrium is with the tangible tools that mindfulness give you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Ahora, so now, what are those tangible tools? As we spoke before, when you meditate, you're more calm. When you're more calm, it's also related with decreasing cortisol. Cortisol is the hormone that it's produced when you have a lot of sympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic nervous system that we talked previously, it's when you're running, when you're under stress, it's also released. It's the same thing. So when you meditate, you're calm, you decrease that cortisol. It's help your brain to fire less. Okay. At the
Mm-hmm.
same time, when you have a good mindset, when you have a positive things, there is one thing that I talk in my book that I think with this argument it's gonna be more focused. It's the
Mm-hmm.
gratitude one. People say like, yeah, mindful gratitude. What's gratitude means? Well, gratitude, it's a narrow circuit that is located in the prefrontal cortex in our brain. A doctor, his name is Andrew Huberman for Stanford University. He made a study how does gratitude work. There's a study that if you write three things in the morning that you're grateful, they do MRI in some patients, they increase the cognitions on those patients. However, he realized how to increase that nucleus. And that's nucleus increase when you watch a movie, when you hear someone that is helping others. Why? Because as a society, we don't grow individually, we grow together. So
Right.
when you watch people, when you see other one helping others, that's made you to be proactive to help your community. That's how evolutions work. It's something that we call now mindfulness in neuroscience, but it's something that it was way before. Right now, we are understanding how our brain work with those things. So for me, when people say like, okay, how mindfulness work in the neuroscience field, they
Mm-hmm.
are data. We are understanding how our body is working physiology wise with those tools of mindfulness that really impact people. Because a lot of people they like, yeah, but I want objective data. Yeah, they are. You can find those research how the nucleus get activated when we see things and when helping others. We can see our data how our vital signs decrease when we meditate and how we decrease the cortisol level. That's a hormone for stress that also alter our DNA.
Mm-hmm.
So it does simple things that help us. I say it because I'm in the medical field, but sometimes other people they don't know those part, and that's why they feel a little skeptical with those informations and don't believe. But that's why we're here, like to share the knowledge that we have, and also they have more questions. We're happy to answer those one. However, as I always say, nobody have the whole truth. We only have perspective. We have data that we're helping others. We just want to gather everyone to be part of the conversation for the better good. So everyone can share their own opinion, their own concept they have been discovered to help how we can improve as a person and bring our best version of ourselves. Because we grow as a society. That's why we want this conversation for the better good.
That's correct. Lovely, lovely, Dr. Edgar. And finally, if our listeners want to connect with you or get access to your book, how they can do that?
Perfect. Yeah, they can connect with me on Instagram. You can find me as Edgar Reynoso Vanderhorst at Edgar R. B. Horst. In my book, Wellness Optimizing Yourself with a Scientific Perspective of Pediatric Neonatologist, it's on Amazon. I have the hardcover, paperback, e-Kindle, and audiobook. And Amazon, you just need to write Wellness Optimizing Yourself and you will find me.
Lovely. We'll have all the details and links in the show notes. And listeners, that's a wrap for today's episode on the Mindful Living podcast. And we hope you have been as inspired as I was by Dr. Edgar Reynoso Vanderhorst's journey, as well as his incredible insights into wellness, personal growth, and self optimization. Remember, as Dr. Edgar shared, the tools for growth, whether it's meditation, mindset, or resilience, are within reach for all of us. So, Dr. Edgar, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your wonderful gift with all of us.
Thank you so much for these invitations. And we're going to continue forward. We want to be part of the conversation for the better good.
Exactly. And listeners, be sure to check out Dr. Edgar's book, Wellness, Optimizing Yourself. And you can refer the show notes along with this episode. And thank you to everyone for joining us. Stay mindful, keep growing, and we'll see you next time on the Mindful Living podcast. Until then, take care and remember to optimize yourself one mindful step at a time. Thank you.